Good evening. We're going to call the meeting to order. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. At this time, we're going to ask Pastor Rodney Clements from Red Hill Baptist Church to come forward.
Let us bow in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for your grace and your mercy and your love. We thank you for our community, for our county. Lord, you have put these in positions of authority. I pray your blessings upon them this evening. I pray that you will give them wisdom and guidance and direction as they govern us. Father, you've said in your word that righteousness exalteth a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. So I pray for righteousness to reign in our county. I pray that you would help us to look to you. We are a weak and a needy people. We pray your richest blessings upon all of our elected officials and those who serve us. We thank you, Lord, for this time, this evening. I pray your blessings upon this particular meeting. I pray that you would just grant wisdom. I pray that you would just help to direct this that might bring honor and glory to you. We love you tonight. We thank you. And we pray this in the wonderful name of our Savior and our King, the Lord Jesus Christ. In his name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Clement. All right, I'm going to go ahead and read the ethics statement. In accordance with the State Government Ethics Act, it is the duty of every board member to avoid both conflicts of interest and appearances of conflict. Does any board member have any known conflicts of interest or appearance of conflict with respect to any matter coming before the board? If so, please identify the conflict and refrain from any undue participation in the particular matter involved. Are there any conflicts?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. So if you had a chance to look over the agenda, entertain a motion to approve the agenda as read.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Gatewood, second by Commissioner Mims.
One thing I would just mention, I don't think we have any property tax refunds or adjustments, so item 2A probably needs to be dropped off on the consent agenda.
Okay. So we need to remove item 2A because you're right, there is no property tax adjustments tonight. Okay, with item 2A removed, any other discussion on the agenda? All right. Second hold. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right. Moving down to the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda without item A?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mims, second by Commissioner Gatewood and Commissioner Woodburn. Any other discussion on the consent agenda? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, we'll move into our appearances. I'll ask Sheriff Howell to come forward.
We have before us Rush Medley. He was a full-time employee in the jail, retired in 2013. And somehow in 2013, his resolution of retirement and him receiving his firearm slipped through the cracks. It's brought to my attention, and so we've got that started, and now we're here to read his resolution of retirement, and hopefully you'll let him have his firearm. Rush still works with us part-time, does an outstanding job. I wish that everybody that I had the work ethics and everything that Rush does for us on a part-time basis. We'd be in great shape at the Sheriff's Office. Or better shape, we're in great shape, but better shape than we are now. It's hard to replace people that are leaving with the new generations coming on. It's just a generational type thing. But he's done a great job for us, and I'm glad this is gonna happen.
Thank you.
May I read the resolution?
If you will, sir.
Resolution honoring Corporal Rush Medley Jr. for retiring from law enforcement service and to declare his badge and service weapon as surplus county property. Whereas Corporal Rush Medley Jr. began his career with the Anson County Sheriff's Office on June 12, 2004, and was assigned as a detention officer at the Anson County Detention Center And whereas Corporal Rush Medley Jr.'s devotion and dedication to the Anson County Sheriff's Office, as well as his continued service and successes in the area of law enforcement throughout his years of service, are thereby acknowledged and congratulated. And whereas, in accordance with North Carolina General Statute, Chapter 20, Article 187.2, governing boards are authorized to honor retiring law enforcement officers by presenting the badge worn during office as well as the service weapon carried during their years of service. Whereas Corporal Rush Medley Jr. has served as a member of the Anson County Sheriff's Office Detention Center, and his retirement from the Anson County Sheriff's Office on May 31st, 2013, be acknowledged as the official date. And now, therefore, be it resolved that as a token of gratitude to Corporal Rush Medley Jr. for his many years of service in law enforcement in Anson County, the Anson County Board of Commissioners hereby formally implements the authority granted by the General Statutes of North Carolina by presenting the badge worn by Corporal Medley in his tireless contributions to the citizens of Anson County. Be it further resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Anson County hereby declares as surplus property Glock 22, serial number RTK 335, to be presented to Corporal Medley, adopted this 20th day of February 2024.
I just want to thank this great board for doing this for me. Chief Howard, thank you for what service. I didn't love Anson County. It's okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Officer Medley. Okay, so at this time, do we have a motion to adopt the resolution?
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Little Reed, second by Mr. Bricken, Commissioner Woodburn. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay. Moving on, we're going to enter into our public address period. I'm going to read the statement here. There shall be a time set aside at each regular meeting of the board for public comment. Each citizen who wishes to speak during this time must sign up on a sheet prior to the start of the meeting. Each citizen shall be allowed 3 minutes for their presentation. All citizens are expected to follow proper decorum and shall not use profanity nor defamatory speech. The public is expected to remain seated except when leaving the room. The commissioners are expected not to comment on matters brought to the board during this time, but to delay action or comment until staff has had an opportunity to research the subject matter and to report the necessary and relevant information to all members of the board. So at this time, I'm going to call Crystal McKenzie.
Hey, good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Forbes. My name's Crystal McKenzie. My Parker family's been residents of Burnsville for many, many years, and I'm also a local nurse practitioner. I'd like to raise a few questions regarding health and safety issues that I feel need to be addressed in regard to this flea market coming in on Faulkner Road. First of those being traffic. Are we communicating with the district DOT engineers, and if so, what feedback have we received about the ability of Hopewell Church and Faulkner Roads to accommodate the increased traffic that we expect this to bring? Piggybacking on that, I would say parking. This is a 10-acre property which has at least 3 probably former poultry barn-sized buildings on it. How much more parking can 10 acres accommodate? And, you know, we shouldn't have people parking up and down the shoulders of state roads consistently. That poses a safety threat to the community if we have folks walking up and down these roads, if emergency vehicles can't get in and out to address any kind of situation that might occur. Another thing I would bring up is, you know, fire and rescue. We're on a volunteer fire department in that portion of the county. From what I understand, they've struggled with membership over the last several years. We haven't had a fundraising barbecue there in a couple of years now. If we're not able to accommodate a fundraiser, do we have the people to address an emergency and what might be the largest mass gathering that Anson County has had to contend with in some time? I mean, that is a concern. I'll also say law enforcement. You know, do we know? In that area of the county, it's rural. We expect a longer response time from law enforcement than what one might get in town. But if on top of that, we're bringing in a lot more folks, you know, we have this event going on, then what are we looking at in terms of, you know, there's typically a lag time. Working for a large organization, changes typically aren't able to be made until we see what are we dealing with and how do we respond to it. But, I mean, that poses a threat to safety of citizens also. I would also say I was confused a little bit in some of the previous questions and conversations that I've had asking about these things. We're apparently classifying this as an event, and that's how we're kind of changing or circumventing septic and some of these things, and we're going to porta potties and things like that. Something that's happening on a consistent basis at the same time, in the same place, on the same dates, consistently, and not for a defined period of time. I'm not sure legally what constitutes an event and what constitutes a business. Again, I'm a medical professional, not an attorney. But that's confusing to me. This is registered as a business. It's an LLC. It's doing business in the same place at the same time, consistently every week. The last thing I would say, sorry, I guess I lost my time. I just wanted to bring up the point that this is causing, it's taking a lot of resources from a lot of different county departments. You know, who's going to determine how many porta potties we need? Who's going to regulate that? Is it sanitary? If we're serving food, the health department is involved. Fire and safety is involved. All of this is at the Anson County taxpayer's expense. I don't see any revenue coming in from this into Anson County. So are we excising a tax or a fee for consistently holding this event to bring some revenue and take some of this cost off the back of the Anson County taxpayer? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McKenzie. Next, Linda Van.
Hello, I'm not a speaker, but I'm here. We live on Hopewell Church Road,
Yes, ma'am.
not far from Faulkner Road. And Mr. Bricken has also been to our home when he was going to get elected and talked to my husband and I about being there for Peachland and Anson County community. Look out for the people. We just found out about this flea market this morning when I read the article about it, and I'm really disturbed about that in our community, in Anson County, we can't get out anything to the community about what's going on around there. That property backs up to our property. You can hear the building going on now. So what are we going to hear every weekend when we're sitting on our deck during the weekend? We want to enjoy our time, you know, sitting there peacefully eating, and we're going to hear music and traffic and everything else. Right now, it's peaceful. You don't hear anything. You can hear the church chimes on Sunday morning. But we have a big concern about the traffic that's going to cause. We have sharp turns there. You know, I mean, just the traffic in general. Churches leaving on Sundays. Who's going to address these policies there? We pay taxes. Our value, our home values are going to go down. Nobody's going to want to bring their children out there and buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house when you have a flea market running every weekend in your backyard. It's not fair to us. It's not fair to the people in the community about their property values. It's just wrong. To have this place open up there, they're supposed to be selling animals there. They're going to be running a flea market, a farmer's market. They're supposed to be letting people camp there. What are we going to be dealing with every weekend? I mean, it's wrong. I mean, which one of y'all want to come buy our house from us today? 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. You know, good price. Would you want a flea market in your backyard? We don't. So I'd appreciate if there's something we can have done about this or do something about it before something bad happens. And that's what's going to happen. You saw what happened to Sweet Union, what it looked like in the end. We don't want that in our community or in our backyard. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Van. Next, Art Taylor.
Hello again.
Hello.
I just wanted to come and voiced a few more concerns. A couple of them have already been voiced tonight, so I won't waste the time with repeating it. And hopefully we can get some answers to a lot of the concerns that we had last time. We hear a lot of rumors and things that we are told are going to happen. You know, we ask about stop and start times, we ask about a schedule, those type of things. Another thing I wanted to bring up would be the waste management there, as far as that place will generate a lot of trash. You know, and we have a dump facility in Burnsville, but you know, is that going to be filled up also? And as we discussed before, you know, a line of sight, and to reiterate from one tonight, let's get a definition between an event and a business. If this thing is going to be running all the time, you know, we need the schedule, we need to know what's going on. Like was said, you know, if it needs a start and an end time if it's an event. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. All right, next, and I'm not going to try this last name, Tina.
Come on, try.
No.
That's horrible.
But I would like to hear your last name.
It's pronounced Tomasiccio. May not look like that.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't try that one.
Oh, come on. I'm sorry?
Spell it just like it sounds.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. I don't know, it's Italian. I mean, if you don't know the pronunciation, I guess it's hard. So, in regards to the flea market, I addressed some of the concerns. I actually went down there and met with the owners today. They seem like really nice people. However, I feel like some of the issues like law enforcement, fire department, all those are major concerns. I do live in the area. You have to worry about crime. There's enough like side bar stealing and people's houses getting robbed as it is. This just brings more of that to the community. Not only that, you have animals, and I don't know what the laws are really here, but I know that there's a lot of animals that go unvaccinated. And if you're having unvaccinated animals, waste product from the animals and from people, that's a lot of waste and that's a lot of contamination in creeks, in your environment, what you inhale, what your kids, grandkids have to associate with. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of laws that really aren't enforced, so it's kind of a big question mark if this is something. It's almost like they have a free-for-all, like they can do whatever they want. And where's the zoning? There's no zoning in this county. That becomes another issue. Is it agricultural? Is it business? Like she said, is it an event or is it a bit? Which one is it? Like it's contradicting what they're actually doing, which raises another concern. And they said that they got permits for all this, and I'm sitting here going, well, that's great that you got permits, but like, how come nobody in the county knows about like this flea market? And there's just a Facebook page, and then 3 weeks later there's an article. It's kind of puts homeowners and property owners and taxpayers in a bad situation. And I guess addressing concerns, there's a lot of people with a lot of concerns that weren't able to attend the meeting. And I mean, I feel like I really don't know how this works here and with the commission board, but there's something that the people should be able to voice their opinion. And if there are concerns about fire and safety, that's number one. So that's it. That's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Tina.
Oh, come on. You didn't want to try it?
No, ma'am. Okay, that concludes our public comment section. Next, we're going to move on to our appointments for tonight. We have 2 appointments to make tonight to the Trillium Board, and so we're going to split these into 2 different votes since there's 2 different appointments. So first, if you notice in your packet, I'll entertain a motion to approve Commissioner Little Reed to serve on the Trillium Board.
Make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Woodburn, second by Commissioner Gatewood, to appoint Commissioner Little Reed to the Trillium Board. Any other discussion on that appointment? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay. So, and then next we have, there's two candidates listed, and we need the appointment of one of these candidates to serve along with Commissioner Little Reed on this board.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to appoint Ms. Keisha Dunlap to that position.
Okay. Have a motion to appoint Ms. Dunlap.
Mr. Chairman, I would like a discussion before we do the motions. Because a lot of the commissioners not aware of yourself and Commissioner Brickland. I don't think y'all really know Keisha or Sharika for the simple fact she just comes to the board meeting. So we need a little bit more I wanted to give you a little bit more detail about what they wanted or what they was expecting, because we had a meeting with David Peterson and Anthony Ward, county manager, and myself. And Mr. Mims, he was invited, but he didn't show up. So we had a meeting, and I wanted you to, everybody to get a paper. I'm not gonna bore you, Madam Clerk, I got it. To what the criteria is, the statute is, so that way you and Commissioner Bricker can get a little bit more details about the two that's running, instead of just nominating somebody, because normally this is not how we do it. We just have one person and go on, but this particular time, we have two. So with that being said, I would just like to say, before making my motion for Trillium Regional Anson Advisory Board, I ask that each of you would look at the papers that I've just given you, and that fifth bullet describes what they're looking for. This was delivered by email by Anthony Ward. He's the representative of the Trillium Board. The General Statute 122C-118-1 states, an individual with social service expertise and experience in the field of mental health, intellectual or other developmental disabilities, or substance abuse services. My 18 years of experience working in mental health for a psychosocial rehabilitation program for Sand Hills Mental Health allowed me to be appointed to by Commissioner Ross Streeter to be a representative of Sand Hills Board of Directors. It is my recommendation that Sharika State serve as a representative for the Trillium Advisory Regional Board. Ms. Staten has a master's degree in criminal justice with a focus in victimization. She is the chair for Juvenile Crime Prevention Council and completed victimization assessment. Sharika is a former employee of the Anson County Department of Social Service that has 5 years of experience with the Child Protective Service Department. Her experience also involved working in the mental health field, developmental disabilities, and substance abuse capacities. So before you vote, everybody need to look at what the criteria is and listen to what's being said, and not just vote because you was asked to vote for somebody else.
Mr. Chairman, I have a motion on the floor.
Yeah, yes, sir. So thank you, Ms. Little Reed, for the documentation on that and what they're requesting. We do need to address the motion on the floor at this time. So we have a motion to appoint Ms. Keisha Dunlap to the Trillium Board. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Gatewood, second by Commissioner Mims. Any other discussion?
That's a discussion.
Okay.
Commissioner Mims, that's his sister-in-law. So is that not a conflict of interest?
I have to ask our attorney.
Is that a conflict of interest?
No, it is not.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Any other discussions on the appointment of Ms. Dunlap to the Trillium Board? Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Two opposed. Commissioner Woodburn, Commissioner Little Reed opposes. Commissioner Mims, Commissioner Bricken, Commissioner Caldwell, Commissioner Gatewood vote yes. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Still would like to
Okay.
say something pertaining to this, if it's all right, Mr. Chair.
Yes, once we get to Commissioner concerns, I'll open the floor. We can address our concerns.
No, but this is pertaining towards this, the Trillium.
Oh, okay. All right. You go ahead.
Okay. I just would like to say that this has never happened before, because we never really had two people to to take the motion for. And when I talked to several of you, I'm not gonna call your names because I don't want to put you out there, but you said that you didn't really know it. You was gonna look to see what the other Commissioner Mims said. I'm not gonna call your name, but if you don't know somebody and then you haven't really researched the person, how can you vote for them? I'm just asking a question. And I'm not pertaining it to no one person. You know how you voted and you know whether or not you was, you knew the person that you voted for. That's all I was asking.
Okay. Are you expecting a response, or are you just asking a question?
It would be nice to get one.
I don't know who you're addressing. You said you were.
Do you know Keisha?
I do not know Miss Keisha Dunlap or Miss Sherika Staten.
Okay.
I did my research on both candidates. I spoke with individuals who know both candidates, and I made my decision.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Okay. What about you, Mr. Booth?
I know Miss Dunlap, and I've always felt like she was a very qualified candidate.
Is it because you know her because she come to the meetings, or you know personally?
I just know of her experience. I know where she position she has on social service, and I just made my decision.
Thank you for the questions. So, okay. All right, moving along to the manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We got 4 items tonight. The first one is deals with our audits, and you have 2 different documents in there. If you'll look at the first page on number 9, that is an audit contract that you need to approve the amended form tonight, because originally it states that the original date for submittal to the LGC, or as I should say the Local Government Commission, was for 12/31 of 23. It was actually submitted in 1/31 of 24. So we needed to make that correction. And I guess if I was speaking a lot of Latin and understood it, the attorney can correct me, but it's done not pro tunc, which means now for then.
Okay. So do I entertain a motion to approve the amended audit contract?
So move.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mims, second by Commissioner Little Reed and Commissioner Gatewood. Any other discussion on the contract? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, the second, that was for the FY22 audit that, as you know, was just done a few short weeks ago. Mm-hmm. The other part of that is to approve the fiscal year 2023 contract. And if you'll remember, when Alan Thompson with Thompson, Price, Scott, and Adams, our independent auditors, was here making the presentation on the FY22 audit, he said that their intentions were to complete the FY23 in June of 24, and that would put us back on schedule and hopefully in a good stead with the Local Government Commission. So I recommend approval of that contract.
Okay. All right. So do we have a motion to approve the contract for the 23 fiscal year?
Move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mims, second by Commissioner Gatewood. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item, and Mr. Forbes, our attorney, may want to discuss that because he has been doing some negotiating with the farmers market manager, Ms. Leslie Lee. Yes.
If you recall, this has come up before with the market. This is the exact farmers market contract has been agreed upon by Ms. Leslie Lee. I have emails confirming that, and it's the exact email that we just the contract that we forwarded over to Madam Clerk.
Okay.
That's the exact wording that we agreed on.
Yes. I did speak with Ms. Lee, and she is in agreement with this contract that we have prepared here tonight. So, entertain a motion to approve the farmers market lease agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gatewood, second by Commissioner Little Reed. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, it's my understanding too, which is just a little plug for the farmers market that's located on 52 South. It's my understanding from Ms. Lee that they will be opening up in April of this year, as opposed to waiting until the latter part of May around Memorial Day. and they've had a great season this past year, and hopefully they'll have an even better one this year.
Yes, thank you. Great opportunity to utilize the farmers market, buy local.
Yes, sir.
So great opportunity for our citizens.
The next item on page 32 of your agenda is a letter from the Department of Transportation, just advising me that the division will be extending the license plate agency contract for Wadesboro, license plate agency number 169, for an additional 2 years. So the next expiration, and so otherwise the provisions for that 8-year contract would have expired this year, and so this is just to notify us that they are extending it for 2 more years.
2 more years, okay.
So we're still in business. The last item is actually a resolution that you would have to adopt tonight if you agree. Our emergency services operation has a 2016 E450 ambulance, and I know some of the commissioners are familiar with it. We may have to get our attorney to say grace over this as well, but I know you can do a private sale. I have talked with Chief Anthony Ratliff and also with former Chief Tyler Green, and they have agreed that they would love to accept it if the board would so agree to provide it to them through a sale, if you will, for a sum of $1. It's got 155,000 plus or minus miles on it.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the sale of the 2016 Ford to the Anson Rescue Squad for the amount of $1.
A second.
Okay. All right. So we have a motion on the floor from Commissioner Gatewood to approve the sale of a Ford ambulance to Anson Rescue Squad. We have a second by, I think, everybody. And so any other discussion on this resolution? I will reiterate what County Manager said. I did speak with Chief Ratliff, also with Chief Diggs, and both are in agreement that this will help the Anson Rescue Squad. It is a surplus vehicle that the county owns, so it's kind of the best of both worlds that we're helping both agencies. So this time, I'll take a vote for all in favor of this resolution.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I apologize. You said the key words. Have y'all voted to make it a surplus vehicle? Or is it a surplus vehicle as defined on that? I just didn't know if it is a simple motion, a vote to declare it a surplus vehicle would be appropriate on that.
So moved.
So we have a motion on the floor to make this vehicle a surplus vehicle. We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. It is now a surplus vehicle. So- okay. I guess that concludes it. All right. I just have 2 quick things I want to mention. I want a couple announcements coming up. The Anson County 4-H is hosting a clover crawl Friday, March the 8th from 6 to 11 at Lockhart Taylor Center. Tickets can be purchased at the Cooperative Extension, or I think there's a couple other businesses here in town. Great opportunity to support the local 4-H club. And then there's a save the date. I don't know if you've been given this yet. It's the South Piedmont Community College dinner with the trustees will be held on Tuesday, April the 9th at the Polkton Depot in Polkton. Tentatively for 6:30. I'll remind you again closer to time. Okay, and Clerk Cannon will send a reminder out closer to time. I will take another minute to address the pending flea market. I know there's a lot of concerns with this facility. I spoke with our building inspector today. I spoke with our fire marshal today. This facility will not be allowed to operate until they meet the current code through our building inspector. They have not presented an engineered architectural plan for the fire marshal to approve or deny yet. Once they have presented that, that's when the building inspector will go out and inspect it and either approve it or deny it from an operational standpoint. I know as you ride by, because I've done it myself, they are continuing to work on this facility. We as a county cannot stop anyone from putting gravel down, repairing a structure. You're more than able to do any renovations you want to do to your home or business, but you've got to meet the code before you can operate that business. And so that's where they're at now. They can spend all the money they want to, but until they meet the code, they're not allowed to operate.
Mr. Chairman, if I
Yes.
may, I didn't mean to interrupt
Yeah, go
your
ahead, no, sir.
train of thought. I am very concerned about this flea market coming to the Burnsville area.
Yes, sir.
I would not want it in my neighborhood or anywhere near my neighborhood because of all the concerns that's been voiced tonight. And I think I would like to ask the county attorney, is there anything at all that we can do to prevent this flea market from landing in Burnsville?
I don't know of anything that would be proper given the zoning laws. We've researched that. I cannot find anything that would be purposely, that would prevent this from coming under the current laws and the current zoning that comes in. Now, that is assuming that they continue to follow the permitting laws, that they properly meet the architect's plans, and they follow fire code and everything. I'm not sure about DMV. I believe the audience has expressed some problems or some concerns over parking along the road. That may be an issue for DMV. I have not checked with them. But as far as from the county to stop them, it appears they have followed the permitting laws to this point, and that they are in the process of properly following the rules and regulations in existing at this time. I went ahead and took it upon myself to, at the concern of some individual commissioners here too, about their vested rights, and I'm looking to see if they do have a vested right, because even changing zoning ordinances to prevent something after it has already been started and after it's already have rights vested would be improper. It is an equitable decision, weighing the benefits and costs to the public versus the right of the suspected landowner given the situation of the time. And we just have to have time to study that given the facts at this particular moment. Another concern that I had not thought of, ma'am, was the potential for waste and runoff from a large parking area. I had not thought of that. I'll have to research that. I understand that I'm sure they're going to have proper plumbing facilities and everything like that. I'm not sure if that will be met through a septic system or if it will be met through a porta potty system or what's legal. I know that I've spoken with our planning offices here as well. I'm not aware of anything to stop this at this time, given our laws.
Well, there are a lot of questions yet about safety concerns, runoff, noise, litter, and so forth. We heard the laundry list tonight, and we heard the laundry list at our last meeting. Is there some way that we could institute a moratorium until we have a chance to address all of these various issues before we allow this business to start operating?
The authority to institute a moratorium is you may adopt one temporarily on any development approval required by law except for the purpose of developing and adopting new or amended plans or development regulations governing residential uses. This is not a residential use, so anything that y'all would do on this. All right, the duration of any moratorium shall be reasonable in light of the specific conditions that warrant imposition of the moratorium and may not exceed the period of time necessary to correct, modify, or resolve such conditions. I don't know that at this point I would say that at this time you have not met anything for this specific instance. If you want to stop or prevent something from coming to the area in other areas and in other sites rather than this particular one, I think you could implement a broad range moratorium, but I would not recommend one for this particular issue. I would like to also address something else, if you don't mind, sir, that came to my attention. You mentioned noise and the enjoyment of your private businesses. There's nuisance laws that would make it a private venture for a person to sue or implement things of that nature if they disturb your ability to quietly enjoy your residence if they bring undue noise and things of that nature to you. Even if there's not a noise ordinance in the area, if they're disturbing you, you may have an action on that.
With the noise and everything else that's gonna probably go on there, if they're gonna let people live on the property, which there has been said. What do you do when you call the police? Right now, and I'm not being mean, but there's a response time about 45 minutes to an hour for a sheriff to come out to our home. When we were living on Rising Sun Road, we called the police several times. It took them 45 minutes to almost an hour and a half to us, and then we had to go to the end of the lane and get them and bring them back in because they didn't know where we were, and there was a street sign there. But what happens when it takes them 45 minutes to an hour to come out to and address stuff? What's gonna happen? Is it gonna be taken care of? We're gonna have to do this every weekend during the spring and summer when we wanna enjoy our property? Can we not sit down on our front porch and watch traffic continuously go by and try to turn around in our driveway because they've missed it? Where are they gonna put the signs up that say Sweet Union Flea Market? I mean, this just isn't fair. Our whole community's gonna change. And to me, this is residential because you have homes and families there. We might not be step by step, side by side in our homes because we like our properties. But we are a community, we are residential, and we do want our lives to stay somewhat peaceful the same. This road is a narrow 2-lane road. It's got many curves on it. Down at the end where they just put where the blinking lights are, and down at Partners, they put in a 4-way stop. You have people running that all the time running stop signs. I know they got broadside the other week by a white Challenger hauling butt through there. Can you imagine what all these cars coming in and out, and box trucks carrying merchandise, trailers carrying merchandise, people hauling animals in now that haven't been vaccinated or taken care of? What's our quality of life going to go down to? You know, we've had a good quality of life so far.
Not only that, where's the health department and all this? If they're gonna have food vendors and food trucks and animals and this and that, and there's no law for vaccines for farm animals, but yet you got a food trailer, 3 or 4 food trailer, pony rides.
If I can interject, the food trailers will be inspected by the environmental health, just as any other food trailer that attends any event. There are instances where categorizing this as an event may stipulate different regulations than a business. That's all of that is being looked at by our planning director, our building inspector, our fire marshal, the environmental health. We have those in place for reasons like this to ensure that this is up to par if they're going to operate a business. So,
I thought the board didn't respond to no extent that
Go-
no offense to the people of Vernon,
So-
because I understand your concern. However, the board is not supposed to engage with the people, correct?
that's during the public comment period. So that's during public. Yes, sir. And that's during the public comment period, and we're going to address that. Commissioner Gatewood.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for recognizing me. I've heard the response from the county attorney, and I certainly support what he's saying, but we have an issue here. And I think the Board of Commissioners, we're in charge of Anson County. And I would like to make a motion that we take the necessary steps to implement a moratorium until we have a chance to study the impact of this flea market on the citizens of Burnsville in particular, Peachland, and Anson County more broadly. That's my motion.
Okay. I was jotting down. Can you restate your motion on the moratorium against flea market? Is that I didn't hear the second
Against
part.
the flea market,
Okay.
going into the Burnsville area, until we as a Board of Commissioners have a chance to study the impact of this operation on the citizens of that community, as well as the citizens of Peachland and Anson County. That's my motion.
Okay. Have a motion on the floor to enact a moratorium against flea markets in the Burnsville community. Do we have a second?
I will second that on the grounds that, and add to what Commissioner Gatewood has said, and I guess to see what kind of information we can get from Union County as to why they are leaving Union County. I don't know if we've had that told to us before or we have any background on that, but I think that would be a good part, some information that would help us in this situation as well.
Yes, sir. So
I know the one thing I've noticed is, and I think back over the years since that flea market's been on 74, it was really nice to start with, but in recent years it's really deteriorated. So I don't know if that's got anything to do with it or what the situation is, but I think that would be some good information for us to have in trying to determine a solution to this issue.
Mr. Woodburn, I agree with you, and that can be part of the assessment if the moratorium is approved by this board.
There needs to be a time limit of something because a hearing would be required on this. If you could give me 1 second, please, and I apologize for not being better prepared. I'd just like to know how to implement this. If y'all will give me 1 second, please. And I'm sorry to hold you up on this. I just want to make sure we're doing this right.
okay.
When are we gonna put the zoning in place?
So you have your zoning packet right in front of you tonight. Our tax administrator is here tonight. He has been advised to develop a timeline of when we will be ready to, I guess, hold a public hearing. We have to hold a public hearing on the zoning. Is that correct? Once the public hearing is held, then it.
We actually have 2 public hearings. We'll have one coming through the planning board, and then there'll be a public hearing before it comes before the commissioners.
Okay. So, am I correct to say that we are shooting for sometime in March, holding a public hearing?
I can say we do not have the final ordinance draft in hand right now. I don't think we'll get that until the 1st of March.
Okay.
Or maybe that first week or 2 in March. After we once get that in our hands, we're talking about from where we're at once we have it, we're talking at least 6 weeks to bringing it to the commissioners. That's going through the planning board and then bringing it into y'all.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Mr. Chairman.
Does that answer your question? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, let me just add something here. Just as information, and this is tied to some of the comments made by the public, and those comments were, why are we just not finding out about this flea market? And the reason we're just finding out about it because there is no zoning in the county. So, and when we were going through our process of developing this ordinance, the one thing that the consultants pointed out to us, when you looked at a map of Anson and surrounding counties, we stood out like a bullseye because we were the only county in the area that does not have zoning. So anybody that has anything that's undesirable for them is going to look at Anson County. And the reason we don't hear about it, we don't know about it, just like you all, because right now, without zoning in place, all an individual has to do, a business has to do, is just go through the process, go to the planning board and get it approved, get their permits and all. Nobody has to say anything to anybody until somebody finds out in wherever it's the community or us or whoever that it's an undesirable activity or business or whatever. But it's too late for us to do anything at that point in time. So that's another reason that we've got to get this zoning ordinance passed. The only thing I'll add to that is the zoning ordinance is not set in stone or in concrete. At any point in time that you want to change something that's in that ordinance, if you want to do something on your property or if something needs to change in your area, there's a process you go through with the planning board and it can be changed. As long as it's permissible, you can change it. Now, if it's something that's illegal along that line, you won't be able to get it changed. But you go to the planning board, go through that process, and they can change it. Or if it's something that they need our approval to, then once they've done what they need to do, they'll bring it to us. And as a rule, we approve what the planning board suggests. But that's the reason that things happen in the county that we don't like, and nobody knows about it until it's getting ready to happen. You've got business people or whoever have, they've gone through the process, got the permit, spent money and all that kind of thing. They're ready to pull the trigger on it, and then we find out about it. So zoning is very important. We need to get this in place, which it will actually cause some of this stuff to stop, because with zoning, then there's steps they have to go through, and it'll be made public before they can move forward with it.
That's correct. Thank you.
One thing I'd say, and I've been working with Mr. Newton. He's had me in his office several times in the last few weeks. This document doesn't really have the capability of being perfect right away, but like Mr. Woodburn, Commissioner Woodburn said, we have a document that's as close to being what we want as possible, but with that ability to amend it, we have to get it out. If we're going to wait until this thing is exactly right, then we're never going to have it published. So we're at the point now where we think we've got it as good as we can get it, put it out, and like Mr. Woodburn said, we can amend it or modify it as time goes by, but we are definitely ready to implement zoning.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I have a motion on the floor. I think I had a second.
You did. I'm waiting for Attorney Forbes to give some clarity on that.
Is the length of the duration going to be less than or more than 60 days?
Would you like to clarify, Commissioner Gatewood?
I would say 59 days.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear the difference between the two first. I don't know if we can get all the information. That'd be
I
great.
don't want to rush you, so if you would do it 61 days or so, that might be even better. Just so we make sure we can get the notices out and stuff like that.
Is there a time limit?
There's not a time limit on this. It has to do with the notice requirements. If you'll do it, it has to be noticed by one statute. If it's over 60 days, it has to be published in a paper if it's under 60 days in a different way. So either way.
Well, given that, I would say a 6-month moratorium. That's my recommendation. So I amend my motion to that effect.
Second still stands.
Okay, so we have an amended motion for a 6-month moratorium against flea markets in the Burnsville community. We have a second by Commissioner Woodburn. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we'll move into Commissioner concerns, if there's any more.
I have a commissioner concern. Sheriff's Office will add 6 vehicles for the Gov deal. I think, Ms. Candace, in March.
Yeah, we meet
For March.
Okay. That all, Commissioner Mason? Okay, all right. Commissioner Woodburn?
Mine is more informational. I'd like for all of us, including the county manager, clerk to the board, the attorney, the District 10 meeting for the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, which we are part of. District 10 encompasses Anson, Montgomery, Moore, and Richmond counties. And the date for the District 10 meeting is March the 26th, 2024. And it'll be from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. It'll be at Lockhart Taylor Center. So I'd like you all, I'm asking that that date be put on your calendars because we have company coming. There'll be commissioners from all those counties here. And also there will be the executive director of the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, and his staff will also be here. And they will cover information for the, in general, for the association and for the district, as well as the state of North Carolina. So please put that date on your calendars and plan to attend. And I'll continue to give updates as that happens, but right now it is set for March the 26th at 12 p.m. at Lockhart Taylor Center in the Ingram Room.
And that's 12 p.m. until what time, Mr. Woodburn?
12. It's probably about an hour and a half to maybe 2 hours.
12 to 2.
12 to 2, yes, sir.
Thank you.
And the only other item that I've got, and the manager might have information on this or may already be working on it, but as has been stated, we're beginning to get to where we need to be in good standing with the local government commission. And once we get to that point and they're okay with us, we're in a position to where we can go after grants or, and if we have to, if something comes up and we need to borrow money. But the thing that we need, especially for grants, is a strategic plan. And I don't know that we've actually had one. If we got one, it's so old it needs to be updated. And Central Liner will work with us on that. So, Mr. Manager, I don't know if you got anything to add. I'm just putting it out there that we need to be working on.
Thank you, Mr. Woodburn. I've actually talked with Geraldine Gardner, the executive director at Central Liner, and she has indicated she's going to get a proposal to us to put together a strategic plan. And you're absolutely right. We can go after grants, and we have received some over the last year and a half that I've been here. One of the problems is that there are certain grants that do require a strategic plan so they can have benchmarks to measure your success or lack thereof. And so that's one thing we can do. So if the board agrees, I'll continue to pursue that item with Ms. Gardner at Central Liner. And the aspect of us borrowing money, that's a bigger, we got to drain the swamp before we can kill those gators, I guess is one way to put it, because we have to get this next audit, the one for 2023, completed. Hopefully that will be done in June of this year. After that, obviously we'll start July 1 for our next budget year. And what I'm hoping is that the LGC will look and see that we've made a lot of progress in a fairly short time frame, and then they can maybe give us the green light to make some borrowing. And I know there's some capital projects that we will need to borrow money, and the biggie there is the fact that, you know, if you do, say for instance, if you wanted to build a new courthouse or a jail, those are projects that would not produce revenues sufficient to retire the bonded indebtedness, which would be your principal and interest. However, if you were doing something like a public utilities, water and sewer project, and you could prove that you had enough revenue coming in to be able to sustain the payments for the general revenue bonds, those don't require a referendum. However, general obligation bonds, as I stated earlier, for things like jails and courthouses and so forth, do require a referendum of the people. And the next opportunity to have a referendum of the people would be November of this year, when we have a general election. But thank you for that opportunity, sir.
Right, yes, sir. That's all I have.
All right, thank you.
I just want to take this opportunity to say, ACTS Director Tanya Bird took us on a tour of the new building several days ago, and it's a beautiful, beautiful new building. It's complete. If ever y'all get a chance to visit, right over by the new government annex, where it's just a really, really nice building. So we're real thankful for the work that was done so well and so timely. It was a very nice job.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Manager, we will be holding a ribbon cutting at the ACTS facility. I don't know of a date that's been set yet.
Yes, we will. There's
Okay.
just a few punch list items that we need to finish, and of course we'll definitely publicize it so that not only will the commissioners know, but the general public will know, so they can attend.
Be a perfect opportunity for the citizens to see the new facility and learn, you know, about the ACTS program in itself.
Right.
So, you done?
And Mr. Chairman, on that particular topic, I'd also like to recognize D.A. Griffin Construction Company out of Polkton. They've done a tremendous job. We had the open house based on the Aston Record article back on September. In fact, this issue is September 13th. I think the groundbreaking ceremony was that week. And in 5 months, they've constructed this beautiful building. The ACTS Advisory Board had a chance to tour it again on yesterday. It's a beautiful, well-designed, well-constructed, beautiful landscaping, and even the brick. You can't even tell it's a new building based on the brick color of the old PD Electric building, now the Yancey County Annex, and the ACTS facility. So they've done a tremendous job.
Yes, sir. I agree. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other commissioner concerns, announcements? Okay. Hearing none, there is no need for closed session tonight, I don't believe.
There is.
Oh, we do have one?
Sir, we do have one topic for closed session.
Okay. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to enter into closed session.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Gatewood, second by Commissioner Mims to enter closed session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Do you want to oppose? Can you oppose it, please? You can oppose it. I bet we need to oppose it.
Hi, how are you?
Yes, sir.
I'm his
What
older
was our
brother.
last name again?
Thomas Suchio.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to move our ACTS director's salary to $56,000.
Wait a minute.
Now come on, closed session.
We have to make a motion to come out of closed session.
I just made that motion.
But that was in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Gets me every time, too.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion to, I hear a motion to come out of closed session by Commissioner Gatewood, second by Commissioner Mims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay, you have a motion now.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for recognizing me. I'd like to make a motion to move our ACTS director's salary to $56,500 per year, effective immediately.
Second it.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to increase the Acts Director's salary to $56,500 a year. We have a motion by Commissioner Gatewood, second by Commissioner Little Reed. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Any other business we need to conduct? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Little Reed, second by Commissioner Gatewood. All in